All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream for the Franchise Empire newsletter, where we highlight and go over some specific franchise opportunities and franchises of the week for you guys to take a look at, and we will break it down for you. So, what we're going to cover today is we have a B2B business. So, for those of you who don't know what B2B means, it stands for business to business. We have a business to business business that has average sales of 1.37 million. We also have a resale that's in South Carolina that we are told is producing 137,000 of cash flow. We're going to talk about some franchise buyers that moved out of state to buy a franchise, which is interesting. And we'll also talk about a tech employee who quit their job with no plan and then bought a franchise. Hello, Autumn from Georgia. And for those of you just tuning in, if you're watching the replay, drop a comment and let us know that you're watching the replay. If you're watching live, then you can drop any question that you have in the chat, and then we'll take questions at the end. That's when we'll answer your questions at the end. And then also, if you're watching live, just press the like button. If you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn, wherever it is, it helps to show this video to more and more people, and then they can get exposed to the information. So let's talk about the resale. So we've covered, CertaPro resales a number of times, actually. Because they've been around for a long time. They have some quality resales. We've had a number of clients buy CertaPro resales. So actually, real quick, I'm going to drop this at the bottom. As you're watching, if you're interested in this specific resale or just to find out what resales are available in your area, go to franchiseempire.com/resales, and we can get you connected to the sellers or the franchisor, whoever is the contact point for this specific resale, or help to just look up what are the resales that are available in your area. So a little bit about CertaPro before we dive into the specifics of the resale. CertaPro, they've been around since 1992. They have over nearly 500 franchise units throughout the U.S. and Canada. They're the largest residential and commercial painting franchise in North America. So when you talk about blue chip, established, great track record, CertaPro's there. Entrepreneur Magazine, although I don't put a ton of weighting into these rankings, but they rank them as the number one overall franchise in the home services industry, period, which is crazy. Excuse me. So this specific resale is in Hilton Head, South Carolina. They started in 2012. That this particular one that's for sale. So it's been operating for 12 years, pretty solid. The asking price is $655,000. The last 12 months revenue was $1.2 million. So that does not say 2023 revenue. That says the last 12 months. I would assume that means trailing, right? But what trailing period, I don't know. You'll have to, submit your info, and then we can get you connected to find out all the specifics. They list cash flow of $137,000. So like when I look at this, I think, okay, that would be about a 10% margin. So probably some room there to grow the margin. That would be my mindset. But I'd want to know what other franchisees are producing. 2 territories are included in this sale. All right. And so what is our take on this? So CertaPro has a really strong item 19. If you aren't familiar with that term, item 19 is the section in the FDD, the franchise disclosure document, where franchisors can disclose how much money their franchisees are making or performing in terms of sales. It's the only place where they can do that. Of course, this is a resale, so we're stating the specific numbers from the resale, which is why we can share that. But in their FGD, CertaPro shows that the average unit volume, that's what AUV stands for franchise locations open at least 1 year is 2 million. Now, granted, there's a lot of really mature. There's a lot of franchise units that's been open for many years. Um, so that's why the average part of the average is so high. Um, but this location has been open for 12 years and it's doing about half of the AUV. So there does appear to be a significant opportunity to grow upon this business. And again, CertaPro is one of the strongest home services franchises in the industry. They have a really strong hands-on training for 5 weeks. They have a support program for their franchisees, and they have a 90% retention rate among their network over the past 3 years. So again, we've helped a few individuals buy CertaPro resales, and they've all had positive things to say about CertaPro and their network. All right. So if you're interested in, if you're in South Carolina and you want to get connected to this resale, um, then go to franchiseempire.com/resales. And again, if you are anywhere in the country and you just are interested in finding out what resale opportunities are available in your area, then you can also go to franchiseempire.com/resales. You will fill out the information. Then that will lead to you scheduling uh, a meeting with our team. All right. And keep in mind, you do need to have at least $150,000 net worth when, to schedule the call with our team, because you do have to qualify financially for these franchises. All right. If you're just joining us, drop any questions that you have in the chat or the comment box. I can see that we have already some that are coming in, and we will hit those at the end of this video. So, and here's an interesting case study. So, Ryan, he's one of our clients, a program manager at a large educational software company. He was very successful in his career, um, but he really knew that he wanted to build a business of his own and or start a business really. Um, and so Ryan went out and had found some opportunities. Our team went out and found Ryan some opportunities that aligned with his goals. Um, and that was after he joined our 0 to profitable franchise program and system, in which we help franchise buyers find, vet, and then launch their franchises. And we were able to help him narrow down on the HVAC industry and one in the garage door industry. Ultimately, he decided on a garage installation and service franchise, which wound up being a great opportunity for him and his wife, fairly low cost to get up and running. And they relocated because this garage installation and service company, they don't have a ton of territories available left, but they have a really strong track record. So they actually relocated to go be able to get the territory to be able to open that business. And the PS here was that Ryan originally came to us only wanting resales. He watched this newsletter like most of you, and put in an inquiry, scheduled a call to talk about resales, and then as we talked about his goals and kind of understand what they were looking to accomplish. He was interested in taking a look at some just new territory options with franchises, and then pivoted and went that direction instead, which is pretty cool. So let's keep rocking and rolling. I'm going to throw this ticker down below for those of you who want to have a conversation around what franchises may be available in your area. You can go to franchiseempire.com /check territory if you know about a specific franchise that you want us to check for you. I see we got more questions coming in. Let's keep rocking and rolling. We'll talk about the franchise of the week, which is a franchise called Alpha Graphics. So The original location started in 1970. That is a long time ago. They merged in 1986 and they started offering franchises in 1992. A company called USBH is the parent company. They have 232 franchise units. 232 franchise units. So, again, for those of you not familiar with the term units, that does not mean franchisees. That means actual locations or territories that are open. Franchise fee is basically 50 grand, 49,750. Their royalty declines, goes from 7% all the way down to 3%, depending upon as your sales increase. The national marketing fee is 2.5%, but it's capped at $22,060 a year. The investment range is between $290,000 to $375,000 to get open. For those of you who aren't familiar with the way that funding works, we have all sorts of videos that we've made on funding and how to fund a franchise. But oftentimes, you just need to have a lot of people get an SBA loan and they may fund it multiple different funding sources. But typically, if you have access to 20% of the startup cost, then you're in a good position to get it funded. So basically, if you have access to between $30,000 to $80,000, whether in previous 401ks, that can be used without taking a taxable distribution. If you have it in home equity, if you have it in savings, an investment account, whatever it is, then you could be in a good position to get funding. Alpha Graphics, what do they do? So they're B2B, so business to business. They do, print materials, signs, digital and visual communication solutions. So think brochures, big vinyl graphics, right? Actually, we were just at the mall with the family. We never really go to the mall, but I needed to go buy a suit. And so we took the family and you know how in the mall or anywhere when they're doing construction and they're building something, or like in the airport, and they have the giant wood walls to cover where they're doing construction, and they have a huge graphic, right? Those are the sort of things that you would be, you know, trying to get and trying to sell. So something like that could be, $1,000, $2,000 for, you're talking about giant graphics that could be, 50, 60 feet, 10 feet high. Expensive to print those things. And so again, they can do things like mailing and fulfillment, direct mail, signage, vehicle wraps, promotional products, packaging, all sorts of cool stuff. And a typical location is less than 2,000 square feet and can be started with just a few employees. Something important to point out here, ladies and gentlemen, sales is a crucial skill for the success of this business, right? So either you as the owner must be really good at sales, or you need to make sure that you hire a full-time salesperson from the beginning. All right. Super, super key. And when we talk about the numbers, take a look at their 2023 numbers listed in their FGD. This gives the breakdown of all of their criteria. I'm not going to go through all of that on this call, but if you go to we post these newsletters. Actually, let me give you I can link. If you want to make sure to get these newsletters, by the way, you're going to go to franchiseempire.com. Let's see, am I showing franchiseempire.com resources? And you're going to go to Empire Builder newsletter and enter your information. And then you'll get it every week in your inbox on Sundays. But what's also cool is you can go to Empire Builder articles, and then you can see that we have it here, and you can go read it and get all of the details and see what all of that states right there. So highly recommend doing that because I'm not going to go through all of those the fine print with you here. Average annual sales in 2023 was 1.375 million. The median sales, right, the number right in the middle, $965,000. And the median sales of the top 25% of performers, 2.3 million. So if you can end up in the top 25% of performers, the median sale is 2.3 million, which is obviously strong. Anytime you can produce multiple seven figures, that is strong. And the median sales of the lowest 25%, $460,000. So, a lot of what's going to drive the success for those of you like looking into franchises and you're like, how can someone do so little and someone so much? There's so many different factors. It's one of the things that we we train and teach our franchise buyers on, something called my profitable franchise formula. There's 4 elements to it that you need to check in doing your due diligence on franchises. But a huge part of your success is going to depend on you, how you show up in your business, how much time and energy you put in your business. That's really the part that franchise buyers don't really consider, or maybe they do, but a lot of the pressure is put on the franchisor. Like, hey, what numbers do you guys show that you produce? Well, it's like, well, there's some bad owners and there are good owners. So you would want to learn, like, what are the good owners doing? Learn from them and then copy them, right? So out of the 226 business centers, I guess they call their locations business centers, 37% met or exceeded the average. Okay, this is the fine print. I'm not going through all this right here. That's going to be too much. I thought those were our team's notes. So again, if you want to see that, you can go to here. I'll drop the link to make it easy for all of you guys, or you can check it all out there if you want. I'm not going to go through all that here. But let's see. It looks like here, when they include 150 centers, they got all sorts of other interesting numbers here around gross sales being 1.1 million, top 25%, 2.8 million. So obviously there's some criteria here that some of the centers they have were left out. Gross margin 71%. Wow. Gross margin 71%. Payroll 28%. Some pretty interesting stuff there. In terms of what are some of the benefits of franchisees? Well, most sign companies don't offer digital solutions. They only focus on physical assets. So Alpha Graphics does provide social media, web page, landing pages, some digital marketing support, that's pretty interesting, pretty rare. Yeah. This is strictly all B2B, and it's pretty much done during Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, right? So this is not like a weekend business. And I know for some of our clients, that's important, right? That's an important part of their criteria. One of the things that we coach people on is like, hey, you need to have a criteria when looking for franchises. If you think that, hey, I need to, have a business where I'm going to be open 363 days a year, like I did with my food franchise, it's not the case. There are franchises out there that are just Monday through Friday. Third is that stable, right? The need for these services and products are across every industry you can imagine. So, like at the end of the day, companies need to market. They need these materials, and there is a certain level of stability there. Loyal customers. What's cool is that with this business model, if you can get about 20 to 30 loyal customers, meaning businesses that are spending a certain amount of money with you a year. Sorry, I'm kind of getting over a little bit of a cough and I have some congestion. But they'll provide you with about 80% of your work because they'll typically have recurring needs in terms of some of their marketing collateral and stuff like that. And that helps with obviously cash flow stability. And then, they show really high margins in that graph and their FTD showing gross margins of 71%, which is pretty high. So if you guys are interested to see if there are any Alpha Graphic territories available in your area, go to franchiseempire.com/check territory, and you'll be able to schedule a call with our team. You'll have to fill out the information before, schedule a meeting. And we'll be able to check and see if it is available for you. And if you're just wanting to know, hey, I'm not, maybe you're in the beginning part of your franchise journey or search, you really have no idea what sort of franchises you may even be interested in. Um, and you want to have a conversation. Maybe you don't even know if franchising is the right path for you to go down. And you like to have a conversation on, hey, how do we find the right opportunities, narrow down that process, vet it, all that stuff. Then what you do is you just go to franchiseempire.com, and this blue button says schedule a free call. That call is actually a Zoom meeting. Um, if you need it to not be Zoom, that's fine. But you'll click that button, and then you'll answer a couple of questions. And then if you qualify, it will pop up a calendar where you can schedule a free meeting with our team. All right. Um, I will be hopping to the questions in just a minute. On our latest episode of the Franchise Empire Show, we sit down with a former tech employee who was seeing all the layoffs that was happening. This was about a year and a half ago now. And so she just decided with no plan to proactively quit her job. And around that time, she reached out to us. She did what many of you will do, which is she just went and scheduled a meeting with us to be like, okay, hey, I'm kind of interested in franchises. Like, what do I do? I need help. How do I find the right fit for me that's available in my area, that matches with my skill sets, that matches with my budget? Because she didn't want to have to like scour the internet searching, for months, which is sometimes what we hear. A lot of times what we hear when people reach out to us, they've been looking for months or even years. And so within she moved quick. Within less than 2 months, Tasneem had actually signed her agreement and was in her business. So you can check out that episode of the Franchise Empire Show. It's on our Franchise Empire specific YouTube channel. So type in Franchise Empire in YouTube, go subscribe to that YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see in the most recent videos that full podcast episode. If you like to just listen to your podcast, go to any podcast platform, whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, look up the Franchise Empire Show, and then you'll be able to listen wherever you digest your podcast normally. All right. So I'm going to take a sip of water here, and then we'll hop into some of the questions that we had. All right. Let's see what we got here. Do I believe in the saying that it's better to work smarter, not harder? I actually think it's better to do both. Work smart and hard. That's my opinion on that one. What franchises would you recommend buying during a recession? It really just depends. There's all sorts of recession-proof franchises out there. Here's what I'd say. We have a video. I have a video that I've made on recession-proof franchises. That let me see if I can find it real quick and drop it here. But there's all sorts of different ones. It really just depends on you. Yep, here we go. I have a video that I did, a whole training. So I'm dropping that link in there, and you can go watch that whole thing. But generally, services that people need or have to pay for, no matter what, regardless of what's going on, are going to be helpful. And let's see. Do you recommend following the Lindy effect or novelty effect buying new franchises? I think the Lindy thing is when basically if something's been in business a certain amount of time, it'll generally continue to stay in business. So I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that question. What would you say would be the worst type of franchises, and what type of industries to buy for building wealth? The worst type of franchises, I would say food. Unless you have a lot of money where you can own 3, 5, 10 locations, the food business is very expensive to get open and the profit margins are very low. So that's my take on that. Have you had any clients buy laundromat or car wash franchises? We have not had anyone buy laundromat or car wash franchises. But I know that there are some that are available. They're generally pretty expensive because you're dealing with, a lot of equipment. That's expensive equipment. Have your team had any clients that were previously Chick-fil-A owners looking to get into real franchises that they could sell, pass on, or make passive income from? Yeah, actually, a couple years ago, I had a meeting with the guy that he was a Chick-fil-A owner, technically operator, made great money. Um, but his concern was like, hey, like I can't, if I die, my wife cannot take over this business. It's in the contract. It just, Chick-fil-A gets to choose the who steps in as the operator. So I don't actually own anything. And that was a big concern for him. Um, let's see. That is all the questions that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to hit the like button before you go. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And we will see you on the next one, next Monday. Take care.